The Dark Ages, even the name evokes images of decline and despair, a time when civilizations seemed to be on the brink of collapse. Spanning roughly from the 5th to the 15th century, this period, sandwiched between the fall of the Roman Empire and the dawn of the Renaissance, is often painted as a time of intellectual darkness, technological stagnation, and widespread chaos. The very term Dark Ages suggests a world shrouded in ignorance and fear, but is this portrayal accurate? Or are we looking at a more nuanced reality obscured by the shadows of time? Could it be that the darkness we associate with this era is more a reflection of our own misconceptions than the reality of the period itself? The term Dark Ages itself is a subject of debate. It was coined during the Renaissance, a time when scholars were eager to distance themselves from what they saw as a barbaric past. Some historians argue that it's a misnomer, a label that unfairly simplifies a complex historical period. They suggest that the term Dark Ages does a disservice to the many advancements and cultural achievements of the time. They point to significant advancements and cultural achievements that belie the darkness implied by the term. For instance, the period saw the creation of stunning illuminated manuscripts, the construction of impressive architectural feats, and the flourishing of various forms of art. This essay delves into the myths and realities of the Dark Ages, seeking to shed light on a period often misunderstood. By examining the evidence, we can begin to see a more balanced picture of this fascinating era. We'll explore the common misconceptions surrounding this era and contrast them with historical facts. Were the Dark Ages truly a time of unrelenting gloom, or were there pockets of light and progress that have been overshadowed by the more dramatic narratives of decline? By examining key events, figures, and cultural developments, we'll uncover a world far more vibrant and dynamic than the stereotype suggests. The medieval marketplace, for example, was a bustling hub of activity where ideas and goods were exchanged and cultures intermingled. From the rise of Islam to the Viking voyages, these centuries were marked by significant movements and interactions that shaped the course of history. From the innovations of the Byzantine Empire, which preserved and built upon the knowledge of the ancient world, to the stirrings of the Carolingian Renaissance, which saw a revival of learning and culture in Western Europe, the Dark Ages were far from static. They were a time of transformation, adaptation, and, yes, even progress. Trade routes expanded, towns grew, and new technologies emerged, laying the groundwork for future advancements. They were a time of transformation, adaptation, and, yes, even progress. The innovations in agriculture, the spread of new ideas, and the resilience of communities all contributed to a period that was far more complex and dynamic than the term Dark Ages suggests. As we step into the shadows of this era, we find not a void, but a rich tapestry of human endeavor and achievement.
One of the most pervasive myths surrounding the Dark Ages is the idea of complete stagnation. This period, often shrouded in mystery and misconception, is frequently depicted as a time when intellectual and cultural progress came to a grinding halt. The fall of Rome, with its advanced infrastructure and sophisticated legal system, is often seen as marking the beginning of a downward spiral into barbarism and intellectual decline. The grandeur of Roman aqueducts, roads, and public buildings seemed to fade into oblivion, leaving behind a Europe struggling to find its footing. While it's true that the Western Roman Empire's collapse had a profound impact on Europe, it did not bring about a complete halt to progress. Instead, it set the stage for a transformation, where new ideas and technologies began to take root in the fertile ground left by Rome's legacy. In reality, the Dark Ages witnessed significant technological advancements, albeit at a slower pace than in previous eras. Innovations in various fields, from agriculture to metallurgy, began to shape the medieval world in ways that would have lasting effects. The watermill, for example, became widespread, revolutionizing agriculture and freeing up human labor. This simple yet powerful technology harnessed the energy of flowing water to grind grain, saw wood, and even power early industrial processes. The heavy plow, another key invention, allowed for the cultivation of heavier soils in northern Europe, leading to increased food production. This innovation not only boosted agricultural yields, but also supported population growth and the expansion of settlements. These technological innovations, while seemingly simple, had a profound impact on the lives of ordinary people. They improved efficiency, reduced labor, and contributed to a more stable and prosperous society. Furthermore, the period saw the development of new shipbuilding techniques, evidenced by the Vikings' impressive longships, capable of navigating both rivers and open seas. These vessels were marvels of engineering, designed for speed, durability, and versatility. These ships allowed the Vikings to raid, trade, and explore vast distances, reaching as far as North America. Their voyages opened up new trade routes and cultural exchanges, connecting distant lands in ways previously unimaginable. In the field of architecture, the Romanesque style emerged, characterized by its use of rounded arches, thick walls, and sturdy construction. This architectural style represented a blend of Roman engineering principles with new medieval aesthetics. This style, exemplified by numerous churches and monasteries built during this period, showcased the architectural ingenuity of the time. These structures were not only places of worship, but also centers of learning and community life, reflecting the era's complex and evolving cultural landscape. Additionally, the preservation and copying of ancient texts by medieval monks in scriptoria ensured that the knowledge of the classical world was not entirely lost. These scholars painstakingly transcribed works of philosophy, science, and literature, bridging the gap between antiquity and the Renaissance. Trade and commerce also saw a resurgence during this period. Markets and fairs became bustling centers of economic activity, where goods, ideas, and cultures were exchanged. This economic revival laid the groundwork for the growth of towns and cities, setting the stage for the later medieval period. The establishment of medieval universities further exemplified the era's intellectual vitality. These institutions became hubs of learning, attracting scholars from across Europe and fostering the development of new ideas in various fields of study. Guilds and workshops flourished, promoting craftsmanship and innovation. Artisans honed their skills, producing goods of remarkable quality and contributing to the economic and cultural richness of the medieval world. Scientific inquiry, though limited by modern standards, continued to evolve. Medieval scholars made strides in fields such as astronomy, medicine, and mathematics, laying the groundwork for future advancements. The construction of castles and fortifications reflected the era's military and political complexities. These structures served as both defensive strongholds and symbols of power, shaping the landscape and the social order of medieval Europe. Despite the challenges of the time, the medieval period was also marked by vibrant cultural expressions. Festivals, music, and art flourished, providing a glimpse into the rich and diverse life of the era. In conclusion, the so-called Dark Ages were far from a time of complete stagnation. While the period faced significant challenges, it was also a time of resilience, innovation, and transformation. The legacy of this era continues to shape our world in ways that are often overlooked.
The Dark Ages are often portrayed as a time when knowledge was lost and superstition reigned supreme. The image of barbarian hordes sweeping across Europe, destroying libraries and plunging the continent into intellectual darkness is a powerful one. However, this narrative ignores the significant efforts to preserve and transmit knowledge that characterized much of the period. Monasteries, scattered across Europe, became vital centers of learning and scholarship. Monks diligently copied and preserved ancient texts, ensuring their survival for future generations. These monastic communities were not simply repositories of old knowledge. They were also hubs of intellectual activity, where scribes translated works from Greek and Arabic, contributing to a broader understanding of science, philosophy, and mathematics. Beyond the walls of monasteries, education continued in various forms. Charlemagne, the powerful king of the Franks, recognized the importance of learning and established a palace school at Aachen, attracting scholars from across Europe. His efforts, known as the Carolingian Renaissance, led to a revival of interest in classical learning and a flourishing of art and literature. It's important to remember that literacy rates were low during this period. But this doesn't equate to a complete absence of learning or intellectual curiosity.
When we think of the Dark Ages, images of war, invasion, and instability often come to mind. This period, often shrouded in mystery and myth, evokes scenes of relentless battles and ceaseless strife. The term Dark Ages itself suggests a time of darkness and despair, where the light of civilization was dimmed by the constant threat of violence. It's true that this period witnessed its share of conflicts. The landscape of medieval Europe was frequently marred by skirmishes and battles, as various factions sought to assert their dominance. The struggle for power was a defining characteristic of the era, with numerous kingdoms and tribes vying for control over territories and resources. The collapse of the Roman Empire created a power vacuum, leading to frequent clashes between various groups vying for control. The once unified Roman territories fragmented into smaller, often warring states. This fragmentation set the stage for a series of conflicts that would shape the political landscape of Europe for centuries to come. Viking raids with their swift and brutal attacks instilled fear across Europe. These Norse warriors, known for their seafaring prowess, launched raids on coastal settlements, monasteries, and towns, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. The Viking threat was a constant source of anxiety for many medieval communities. However, to characterize the entire era as one of continuous warfare is a gross oversimplification. While conflict was undoubtedly a significant aspect of the period, it was not the sole defining feature. The medieval world was complex and multifaceted, with periods of peace and stability interspersed with times of turmoil. Periods of relative peace and stability punctuated the chaos. These intervals allowed for the flourishing of culture, trade, and daily life. Festivals, feasts, and communal gatherings were common, providing a sense of normalcy and continuity amidst the backdrop of conflict. Charlemagne's reign, for example, brought a degree of order and unity to much of Western Europe. His efforts to consolidate power and promote learning and culture had a lasting impact on the region. The Carolingian Renaissance, as it came to be known, was a period of intellectual and cultural revival that left an indelible mark on European history. His empire, though short-lived, fostered a period of economic growth and cultural revival. The establishment of schools, the promotion of literacy, and the patronage of the arts all contributed to a vibrant and dynamic society. This era of renewal demonstrated that even in times of political instability, human creativity and ingenuity could thrive. Furthermore, the establishment of feudalism, while creating a rigid social hierarchy, also provided a framework for governance and a measure of stability in a turbulent world. The feudal system, with its intricate web of obligations and loyalties, helped to maintain order and protect communities from external threats. Moreover, it's crucial to recognize that warfare during this period was not always characterized by large-scale battles and widespread destruction. Many conflicts were localized and involved small-scale skirmishes rather than full-scale wars. These localized disputes, often over land or resources, were a common feature of medieval life. Much of the conflict was localized and sporadic. These smaller, more contained conflicts did not always disrupt the daily lives of the broader population. For many people, life continued with a degree of normalcy, even in the shadow of these conflicts. Life, for many people, continued with a degree of normalcy, even in the shadow of these conflicts. Farmers tended their fields, artisans practiced their crafts, and merchants traded their wares, demonstrating a resilience and adaptability that belies the image of a society consumed by war. The rhythms of daily life persisted, providing a sense of continuity and stability. Farmers tended their fields, artisans practiced their crafts, and merchants traded their wares, demonstrating a resilience and adaptability that belies the image of a society consumed by war. The medieval period, while marked by conflict, was also a time of growth, innovation, and cultural exchange. It was an era of contrasts, where the shadows of war coexisted with the light of human endeavor and achievement.